And welcome back to Business in Motion, a program that focuses on business and entrepreneurship from an African-centered perspective right here in Baltimore, Maryland on WMEG Radio, the number one station in the nation, with the dissemination of valuable information with no hesitation or reservation, but an obligation and dedication to the elevation of our present situation. Kudos to DJ Rock for making this platform available, for allowing people like myself to come on and to do my thing and to talk my talk. But anyway, you're going to be in for a treat right now. As I mentioned, I've got Dr. Mumbi, an excerpt coming, and this is right in tune with the time, with where things are today in the universe. And, you know, she's bringing information to us from the ancestors. And I think, well, I know for a fact this is something that you just want to put everything aside and just take in. And this is only a little over 11 minutes, but you need to take all of it in, because at the end, even if you want to call in and make a statement or ask a question, you're free to do so. That phone number, by the way, is 443-267-6558. So check out Dr. Mumbi, and we're going to talk about it once this is over. You got it all queued up and ready to go? All right, so here it is. Check it out.
Greetings, family, and welcome to another special message from the Ancient Ones. I hope you can see me. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray, family, that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life very much on your own terms, in your own narrative, in your own story, in your own peace of mind, family, because it's all mental now. We are fully in the mental age, in the Aquarian age, whatever you want to call it. And it's all about whoever has the most control over their minds is going to be the most successful in this season. They're going to be the ones who become the millionaires and the billionaires, because now ideas are the new frequency. Just like the New World Order is creating their ideas of how to enslave the world and how to destroy the planet. You know, there are the new earth angels, the chosen ones, who are getting downloads of ideas of how to restore the planet energetically, how to rise above the Babylon system. So we're not going to be clashing with Babylon like this, family, and that's something our ancient ones want us to know. It's about overcoming. It's about going to a vibration that they can't reach, and that's what they've been trying to stop. They've been trying to stop our elevation, family, to a certain point. Because once we elevate above them, the so-called war is over. The battle for our minds is over. And I think, you know, the ancient ones wanted us to remember that we are the traumatized generation. We are the generation where they perfected the mental trauma as the new form of slavery through their education systems. I mean, I'm sure you've seen those things where they show those memes where they show like a penitentiary or a prison, and they show a school. They'll show you the prison bus and the school bus. Same thing. They'll show you the classroom, you know, the prison, whatever they are, wherever they hang out, and the classroom. Same thing. Boarding school, same vibe. We are the generation where they overstood, understood that the next age would be Aquarian, that the next age would be mental. And so they did everything to create mental barriers, mental obstacles, mental booby traps in our minds, family. And then so many were mishandled and miseducated and wanted to pass that on, you know. They say that the one who is abused will pass the abuse to their child, and so on and so forth. And so many of us are second, third generation trauma. And I think the worst trauma has been the one that's been inflicted on us by our so-called family, our so-called, those ones who are closest to us. They are the ones that have done the most damage. And so the ancient ones want us to remember, family, that it's all about healing your trauma. That is the key to your salvation. That is the key to your liberation. That is the key to your freedom. You can't walk around your trauma. You can't just overlook it. You can't wipe it under the rug. In fact, this is the best season and time to deal with that, family, as Babylon collapses, as a narcissistic reality falls apart. This is the time to release all those, narcissistic brainwashing and indoctrination that have led you to this place of trauma and deep sorrow. Because trauma bonds you to Babylon, to that lower vibration, family. And it blocks you out from moving into a higher state of mind because you just can't. You must release the lower states. It's like that Maslow hierarchy of needs, where they say a hungry man or a homeless man is not able to think about the ideals of reality. Who am I? Why am I here? Any man who is, who doesn't have the 5 basic needs, I think they say food, clothing, money, water, and something else. Like if you don't have, I think it's shelter. Like if you don't have those, you can't even start to even think. It won't even formulate in your mind what this life and what this world is all about. And so for you to hit your highest potential, and not just to even hit your highest potential, family, and be wealthy and be prosperous and move into abundance and live in 5D, it's not just about that, but for you to survive what's coming, if you're still in Babylon, because the worlds are doing this right now. We've hit a crossroads. 5D is going this way, 3D is going this way. You have to heal your trauma, because your trauma is what keeps you in the Babylon cycles. Because you'll be you attract who you are. I've said that so many times, family. You attract who you are. Not who you want, not who you aspire to be, not who you'll be one day, who you are right now. You are the magnet of your experience. And so you have to change the coding of the magnet if you want to have a new experience, family. Stop magnetizing filth and broken people and broken promises and broken realities and, just brokenness, toxic, low-level stuff to you, by removing anything that is an energetic match with that. And most of the time, family, there's an experience that keeps bringing you back into the Babylon cycle. Sometimes it was something that happened to you, a trauma that happened to you as a child. And then it's been compounded by gaslighting and narcissistic parents, and then compounded by abusive boyfriends or girlfriends and friends. And then, so there's just so many layers, but the core is a childhood trauma that you may not even recognize. But let me tell you, we are in the season, family, where we have the grace and the opportunity to deal with some of these core issues and let them go. 2023 is the year of change. It's also the year of, the chariot moving forward by any means necessary. 7, if you 2 + 2 + 3, 7 is also the number of the Most High, the number of God, the number of incredible grace, should I say celestial beings. Because some of us, even our minds, cannot even comprehend what God could be. We've limited God to this when He's everywhere, or she's everywhere. But there's so much, especially, I'm so tuned out, family, of all the narratives, what's happening in Africa, what's happening in Europe. It's only the few emails that I get from you, the news articles, because I don't even watch that much YouTube of news or whatever. I'm out of the cycle completely. And what I'm realizing, like, it's just my peace of mind. It's all here. It's all here, family. And I'm in 5D. But to move even beyond 5D, now I'm dealing with those core issues that are so buried that they just bubble up, you know, in high intense vibrational times, like the full moon or a new moon or something like that. I know I've said so many things in one time, but I hope you pick it all up, family, because the main message is that we're not gonna battle Babylon here. We are simply gonna go beyond the freaking battlefield, and they'll be battling themselves and destroying themselves. And the only way to do that is mentally, because the spiritual rescue is here. The ancient ones are back. Our celestial galactic family is all around us. But they're vibing high, and some of you are vibing way too low for you to connect. And they can only do so much. It's now time for us, family, to do the heavy lifting. That's what the ancient ones and your spiritual team wants you to know. It's time for us to do that, clear out what needs to be cleared out. Confront in you what needs to be confronted and let it go, so that you don't miss the spiritual rescue that is upon us, because you can see that they're pushing in earnest the zombie age, but those are stories for other days. Thank you so much to every single person that supports us on Patreon. Consider supporting us on Patreon, family, so that we can bring you more of the awakening news. There are many beautiful things coming down the pipe, if I can say that. So make sure you're subscribed to both our main channel and this channel. Until next time, tuko pamoja.
And so there you have it. That's Dr. Mumby. That is a very, extremely powerful message that she was just putting out. And I'm hoping that you can acknowledge and understand where she's coming from. Now, for some of you, I know that it might be a little difficult. And for some of you, I think you can grasp those concepts as to what she's referring to very, very easily. And, I just want to, again, anybody out there, if you've got anything you want to say about what you just heard, give a call. I want to hear it. But I'll ask you right here, since you're here, Deirdre.
Okay.
What's the main takeaway that you get from Dr. Mumby's excerpt here, this message that she's bringing? What was the number one takeaway for you?
Always wanting to be on that higher frequency. We all go through different things. Unfortunately, as a whole, we as a people, tend to have what I call PTSD just from post-slavery. But I think the main thing that you want to remember is that if you stay on that higher frequency, especially when she spoke on dealing with your trauma, because we all deal with trauma, we all go through things as children. I think there's a saying that says we spend most of our adult life trying to escape our childhood, basically. But if you always just remember, everything is always temporary. Any situation you may be in is temporary. You always want to surround yourself around people who are positive. And that's the main thing that I took away.
Very good. I think that is awesome. Do we have a caller? Oh, we got a caller. So who's on the line?
Yes. Hi, this is Kim.
Oh, Kim, how are you doing?
Doing good.
Good to hear your voice. So, Kim, I guess you're calling in as a result of listening to Dr. Mumby. Or tell us, what do you feel? I mean, like, what's your number one takeaway from what she had to say, or just anything that you want to say regarding that message? Feel free. It's yours.
Yes, it's hard to have a number one because she threw so much heavy stuff at us. I would want to hear that a couple more times. But what I can remember, well, two big takeaways. One of them is that the celestial angels are ready to lead us in a way that it won't be a battle like what we typically think of, but it will be spiritual and mental. And we need to learn how to start vibing higher so that we can take advantage of what they are able to do for us. Because we can see that everything is falling apart. So I feel good to hear that things are being prepared for us, and we just got to know how to tap into it. And then the other thing I really feel strongly about, too, is just getting past our trauma. And I think I was really moved because she talked about the abuse and some of the other understood traumas, and that's very true. And I know a lot of people are involved, with getting that kind of support. I have in the past myself. But there's also, I think, something very specific to us, and that's the post-traumatic slave syndrome. I've been on your show before where we talked about that. Who was that author? Because maybe the listeners can...
Oh my God, you asked me and it's right on the tip of my tongue, and the post-traumatic slave syndrome is by... I cannot think of a name, sadly. Well, go ahead. Anyway, it'll come to me. Yeah. Oh, she's off the air. Anyway, yeah, we were just trying to think. I'm trying to think of the author of Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome. And I know her very, very well, but I can't think of her. Cannot think of her name. But anyway, we're trying to get Kim back on the line. There were numerous takeaways from my perspective with Dr. Mumby, what she was saying. And, said like the way that we've been programmed, the way that we've been conditioned. And I've had one expert, one guy, a highly esteemed person, who let it be known that they have discovered that many times your issues you have been ingrained so deeply into you until now they're in your tissues. So the issues are in the tissues. And there are certain techniques that you can go through. They're like yoga or qigong exercises that you can do, and you can release those memories that have been embedded in your tissues, just to free yourself, as Dr. Mumby was saying, to be able to take on what the powers that be, she's talking about spiritual powers out there, what they're trying to do for us. The other things we have to be aware, and there are powers that be on the physical level who are quite aware of what day it is. They understand the age that we are in, and they understand who we are as a people. And believe me, they feel that they're in battle, even though a lot of us might not know it. They understand that it's a battle, and they are putting all sorts of blocks and diversions and all these different things so that we cannot understand what time it is and be able to capitalize on our true powers and what we're capable of doing. So we have to be very cognizant of that. And again, just based on our history, we've gone through so much. We have internalized it, and not a lot of those things that we've internalized continue to plague us. And that's what the post-traumatic slave syndrome espouses, is that the conditioning that we've gone through gets passed down. I just had one of my partners on about a month ago, and he's the author of his new book, and we were in discussion, about some of these things. Okay, I think, are you back, Kim? Okay, I don't hear it as loudly. But anyway, go ahead. And you can go ahead and finish elaborating.
I did find the author of that book is Dr. Joy DeGruy.
Yeah, Joy DeGruy. Yes. All right. So, yeah, feel free. Go ahead and finish elaborating.
Oh, I was just piggybacking on what you were just saying, because I think imperative for us as African Americans to seek out a second therapy that a lot of practitioners are not aware of, and that's based on some of the traumatic things that were put in place during slavery that we are still reacting and living out, and we don't even know it's acting on us. So we almost need a double therapy solution, because we've got to deal with the more typical traumas that we have endured, but then we also have to deal with that slave trauma. And even people who would deny that it is active in their lives, it really is. They just did such a psychological whammy on us that we haven't really been able to come out from under it totally yet. So that's another, we celebrate Juneteenth, but we also have to think about how to get away from all the damage, that was done to our race. So that was all I want to say. But I really like that clip, and I will try to find it on YouTube so I can hear it again.
All right, very good. And thank you for calling in.
Okay,
your message is very well taken and very much on point. And with this post-traumatic slave syndrome, as I was just speaking with my other guests a few weeks ago, we were talking about the number of generations that it takes to fully be removed of the conditioning that you take into your body. And I think it's about 15 or 17 generations is what it takes. We talked about how the frog, I mentioned about the frog being manipulated, and he can no longer, the offsprings can't jump as high as they used to. And it was something else he was speaking of, I think the mice, and they wouldn't go close by something that the parent mouse had experienced. It got passed down in the genes. So the issues are in the tissues, and I tell you all, I'm going to do a whole program. I got a brother by the name of Dr. B. Serious, and he goes very deep into the issues being in the tissues and giving remedies to help rid yourself of that. And I want to say this before going off is, with Business in Motion, I like bringing this information. We're all about business and entrepreneurship, but it's from a holistic perspective, because you can go out and work your butt off. You can do everything that you've been taught to do in business school or whatever, and still not be able to succeed because you have these underlying issues that have to be dealt with. And this is why I like bringing on people such as the Dr. Moonbees, so that she can lay it out and you can get information from another perspective. And I'll tell you, we got to get ready to go into our second break, and coming back, it's going to be just totally off the hook, because I'm going to be running down that Tal Brazil, what it's all about down below the equator, and you got to be ready for that. It's going to be highly enlightening. And so, with that being stated, just stick around, chill out to this next tune that's coming up, and I'll be back. I'll see you on the flip side.